Plan C podcast. What up? Hope everyone's having a great day and welcome. Thank you for checking the episode out. My name is Colin, as I'm sure you know if you clicked on the fun link. There is no fun link. It's just a link on my Instagram profile or wherever you're getting this podcast. Hope you're doing so well today. This episode, we're talking about the NFL divisional round. We're talking about the wild card round results, and we're talking about more coaching. Yay! So lock in for that. Should be a fun episode. We kind of had a situation this week where we were trying to record in the evenings, and then I would like fall asleep early, or AJ would fall asleep, and then blah 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 blah. But we eventually got it. So hope you enjoy. Make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, following, rate, review. Tell your friends. Listen to previous episodes. Whole 9 yards. Yeah, we have some great episodes there. We're gonna get an NBA preview. We're gonna get an NBA sort of 1/3 of the season kind of vibe going soon, especially because the Nets are kind of faltering. Bleh. But whatever. State podcast going to come up soon, so make sure you keep your eyes out for that. Next state is, I believe, Arkansas or Alaska. Alaska. L is before R. Yeah. So Alaska coming up. So keep your antennae tuned for that. Anyway, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Let's get into it. NFL wildcard recap mixed with some divisional stuff, mixed with some coaching stuff. Coming up, baby. Thanks again for listening. See you on the other side. Peace.
No problem. I still got Plan C. Ladies and gentlemen.
Bonjour, we're back. Comment ça va? What's going on, y'all? Happy late week. We are covering NFL shit as usual. So you know what that means. Joined by AJ. AJ, what's going on, man?
What is going on, Colin?
Not much. Just finished some solid working, worked 12 hours, wink wink. But yeah, no, I'm chilling, ready to talk some football and start my weekend. Yeah.
There you go.
So let's just dive right into it. First game of the slate. There's not much to cover here. Texans 45, Browns 14. This was a game that after the first quarter, if you were to ask somebody, you'd be like, wow, this is going to be a great game. And then, or I guess, no, it was the Browns scored, they were up to 14, like right
It was
after.
back and forth.
Yeah.
And forth to begin with, yeah.
But anyway, there's a point in the game where things were looking great, and we thought it was going to be a very good game. But then Joe Flacco turned back into Joe Flacco. 2 pick sixes, not great. Yeah, we're not going to spend too much time on this game. But what did you think of this game?
Yeah, I was surprised both of us had Cleveland going out on top. Holy shit, spazzed out a bit. I did not expect Houston to look this dominant, especially the offense didn't even have to do much.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud was very effective, had a pretty good game. But man, like I said, they did not have to do much. They put a 45. You would have expected CJ Stroud to have, 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he cut him up.
Touchdown passes. That was not the case. So, yeah, I think I'm, back-to-back weeks where I've been super impressed with Houston, with their entire team, obviously knocking off the Spurs. So that's technically back-to-back playoff wins for them.
Not the Spurs.
I feel pretty good about them. We'll get into it a little bit later. I feel pretty good. If I'm Houston, I feel good going into this week's matchup.
You're crossing wires, man. You said the Spurs.
Oh my gosh, did I?
Yeah, at least I
Hopefully.
think. I don't know if I mean I did wake up from a
There's a
nap
chance.
recently,
There's
so
a
we'll see.
Texas
But
teams. The Texans. If I'm the Texans this week going against Baltimore, I feel pretty good.
honestly, knowing CJ Stroud though, I bet he's really good at basketball. That kid just seems so good at sports. Anyway, yeah, again, not much to say here. You know, Joe Flacco hit midnight, turned back into a pumpkin. And yeah, you know, Browns really fun season. Kevin Stefanski, congratulations, you'll be coach of the year.
Yeah.
Um,
You still think
yeah.
so?
Yeah, I think so. Especially with McVay losing in the first round as well.
What about Danny
Yeah.
Boy? Dan Campbell.
Uh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. You know me. If I see a coach doing more with less, I'm like, good
Yeah,
coach.
that's fair. That's fair.
Uh,
The surprising thing about this game was how terrible Cleveland's defense was. They showed a stat of how bad they were away,
yeah, I was gonna say there's
this
some
season.
interesting road splits for the Cleveland
Yeah.
defense.
So that I did not expect.
Yeah,
But
same
hey,
here. I thought a classic, great defense going up against rookie quarterback GG's.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next on the slate, similar thing. Chiefs 26, Dolphins 7. Um, this was one that I felt it was over early. I was out to dinner for my sister's birthday. Shout out Linnea. And my dad at one point turns to me and as you do the dads do the dad thing, how are the Chiefs doing? Um and it was like the Chiefs had scored and Tua had just thrown a pick, and I was like, "Yep, that's just the game. Like it's over." And it was 7-0, but I was right. Um, yeah, and I don't know. This is. I think I texted you. I was like so ready to dunk on the Dolphins, but man, there's definitely there's a Tua conversation that needs to be had. Uh, we'll have that in the off season. Um, but Mahomes, for it being like -30 wind chill. I know he didn't complete a ton of passes when you look at the passing chart, but I still felt he looked awesome. For the conditions that it was in, I was very impressed.
He's found his go-to guy.
Yeah, Rishi Rice, man.
Yeah.
Rishi Rice. And God, like I feel like when people were picking, teams to go to the Super Bowl and down the stretch the Chiefs were faltering and blah 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 blah. I feel like they forgot that A, Patrick Mahomes exists. B, Patrick Mahomes has the best defense of his career. C, Isaiah Pacheco is, I'd say he's probably the best running back Mahomes has ever had. And the thing that's been lacking was receiving. And Kelsey, like an old Ferrari, they brought him out of the garage and gave him a good ride. He had 7 targets for like I think 70 yards, 71 yards. I don't remember exactly.
One of his
Uh,
better games more recently.
Yep, you're as somebody who is a Travis Kelsey fantasy owner. Yep, that's absolutely correct. Rishi Rice, 130, 8 targets for 130. Jesus, that'd be crazy. 8 targets, 130, and a touchdown. Great game. Has Mahomes finally found his weapon? We'll see. There's still the concern I have with lack of explosion down the field, but I think that's more of a nitpick more than anything. What do you think of this game?
I was pretty disappointed with the Dolphins showing. I had the Dolphins winning this game. Didn't happen. I want to give them excuses. I really do, with the weather and this and that. I think one of the things I was more disappointed with was the late season drop off of production from Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill. They were putting up Madden stats, halfway through the year, and then they just kind of dropped off. There was a point where we thought Tyreek was going to break the record easily. Didn't really come all that close. In all honesty, I know he was banged up a little bit towards the end of the season, but same with Raheem Mostert. So very disappointed with how that team ended its year. But hey, shout out Patty Mahomes, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's weird because we recorded the pod earlier in the season where we were like, whoa, Tyreek, whoa, AJ Brown, and then they both fell the fuck off.
We had a curse going all year about most players that we were glazing
No,
up.
we definitely curse people on this podcast. It's definitely a thing. It's
documented.
we cursed people. So I'm sorry. Sorry to the New Orleans Saints. I'm sorry to Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. I personally take responsibility for the Dolphins. When they beat the Denver Broncos, I said they may not lose another game. Miami Dolphins, very sorry. You can personally blame me. Yeah, Tyreek really got locked up this matchup, and
Yes.
the NFL film stuff has come out where the Chiefs cornerbacks they were bullying him.
Yeah,
And they were
specifically
like
with Darius Sneed.
they're like you don't want no smoke 10 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like you're saying that to Tyreek Hill, like you're not scared he's just gonna run past you one play, and he did do
Punch
that
you in the
indeed.
stomach.
Or punch you in the stomach or kick you, um yeah, no, it was really crazy, and that just like that put me so much heavier and like, oh my god, are the Chiefs gonna win the fucking Super Bowl?
I still don't see it with them. I still don't. It was a low scoring game against a very hurt team. And they're gonna have, tough conditions again this week.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. But I'm still not there with them yet. I'm really not.
No, I that's understandable. Yeah, just last thing on the Dolphins, just is are they happy with Tua?
I would be.
Like, is this
I think
is
he's one of the more hated players in the NFL, and I don't understand why, to be honest.
that yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think there's not a conversation to be had about Tua, but you do need to look at the record against winning teams because it's not great. Yeah, but again, that's a conversation. That's an off-season podcast. Like our like we also agreed to do a Trevor Lawrence podcast. And I was just like, I kind of had a moment where I was like, oh my god, like Trevor Lawrence and Tua, like, what are who's better?
Tua.
We'll have that conversation. Anyway,
We'll get there.
Next game, and we will probably spend the most time on this game, I figure, but Packers Cowboys, sorry Cowboys, I cursed you again. This was another game where, God, what? It was 21-0.
Yeah.
It was
This
21-0
game got out of hand.
early. And no, sorry, it was 27-0. Yeah, because of the pick six in the second quarter. And yeah, and it was, I mean, you could say Dallas, I guess, mounted a comeback, but with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was 40-16. So
It was over.
Yeah, what was your take on this?
So I actually picked Green Bay to win
Did
this game.
indeed?
I'm not surprised. No faith in Mike McCarthy. He is now 1-3 in the playoffs with the Cowboys in 4 seasons. So not good. It's just he's just not that guy.
And they're keeping
Not
him.
that guy. And they're keeping him.
which
So I wasn't overly surprised, to be honest, with the outcome of this game.
Mhm.
Just very impressed with Green Bay, where that they're even in this position
Yeah, the
at this
fact
time
that
of
they're
year.
here. Yeah.
I think it's great for the team going forward, but they get the unfortunate task of having to play San Francisco this week. So I think it's gonna probably end here. We'll get to that in a bit, but again, I saw it. There's just it's been the same story with the Cowboys for what, 25 years, 26 years
Almost
since they
30
were last
now.
the Super Bowl. Yeah, almost 30. Their last Super Bowl win was the year I was born. And shit, I'm almost 30, I guess. Damn.
Jesus.
So not surprised. It is what it is. Same old Cowboys. Nothing's
It's
gonna change.
it's kind of crazy that they consistently do this. It's it's crazy actually. The fact that they haven't even made it to the NFC Championship, but they make it to the divisional and then that's it. And they just poop on themselves and that's it.
And they've
Um
been some pretty unceremonious losses too.
seriously. It
To get
yeah.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
2 seed to get beat out by a wild card team that didn't even reach double digit wins in Jerry World. It's
Not
embarrassing,
great.
man.
Not great.
No, good luck.
Although if you're a Cowboys fan, you did get some fun news. Apparently the World Cup final will not be played at MetLife, which is very sad for me. And might be played in Dallas. So, or I guess it's technically Arlington, but
There's gonna be some winning in that stadium finally.
yeah, seriously. Yeah, this is one of those games that I feel like like just showed that Dak is who he is. And when you're forcing him to, just do the 10 yard, completions just to kind of chip away and have long drives and shit, you know, I he's that's not who he is. He wants the big plays and shit, and I don't know whether it's a coaching issue or what, but Dak had 60 pass attempts this game, and if you're gonna ask Dak to throw the ball 60 times, I don't think that's a good recipe for winning. Granted, their run game was terrible. Tony Pollard, I think he averaged like 3.5 yards a carry. Not a great look. Um, yeah, I don't know. Again,
Pretty
it was over so quickly. It felt like
Yeah,
you could have napped through the first quarter, woken up, and been like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go back to sleep."
yeah. It
uh,
wasn't must see TV.
yeah. Anything else on this game before we move on?
Some surprises of how the lack of moves. But we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Next game, Lions 24, Rams 23. I'm confusing my animals here. This was not probably. This was the best game of the weekend. It was the only one score game, which for NFL playoffs, I feel like is pretty strange. Yeah, so Jared Goff gets his revenge. Lions get their first playoff win in a very long time. Now the Miami Dolphins have the longest playoff drought. Congratulations, Miami. Um, yeah, this was a very fun game. Back and forth, right down to the end. Not in a super explosive second half, but still a very fun second half. Jared Goff was good enough. Matthew Stafford, he was slinging that thing. He had over 350 yards, but unfortunately, not enough. Oh, Mac, you can't join the podcast, buddy. Sorry if my cat was being picked up there. Um, yeah. Would you what,
Okay.
what would you take on this game?
Yeah, I thought it was a good showing. I think we both picked the Rams to win it. Right? We said the Rams are probably a team that nobody wants to play. I wasn't surprised by the outcome. I could have seen either team really pulling it off.
Yeah.
But man, I think this showed this game this season said a lot about the Rams, Matthew Stafford. I think before
Oh
the
yeah.
season, not that many people were counting on him lasting past this season, and he showed he still has it. They,
Oh okay.
they had such a great passing attack without Cooper Cup. To be fair, right? They didn't need him. They had Puka Nacua. Probably should be offensive rookie of the year. He's not going to get it because
Cause
quarterbacks
CJ, yeah,
win all the awards, but he should be. It should be his award, right?
agreed.
So it was fair. It was great to see all these old ass Lions fans in the stands, witnessing their first playoff win in what 30+ years. So that was cool to see. Dan Campbell getting it done.
The Brad
Yeah,
Holmes video in
fun
the
game.
elevator was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Like you said, probably the only really competitive game this weekend.
Yeah.
Don't love all the stuff that's coming out about how Lions fans treated Matt Stafford and his family. I mean, that dude did so much for your organization. It kind of
Yeah, booing the
that's weird, but
kids. Ooh, like come on, Detroit, stay classy.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
yeah, entertaining
yeah.
game.
No, this was. I think this game said more about the Lions than the Rams. Um, just because I think the Lions had a lot more to prove, and the Rams are kind of playing with house money. Um, and you know what? In a different season, this might be the NFC Championship. Um, because these are
Yeah.
both like very good teams, and there's young talent on both sides of the ball. You know, these are two GMs who have drafted so well in different ways, though. Because with the Rams, it's so many like day two, day three picks. But with Detroit, they have hit on so many of their like first 2 round picks. It's cool to see. It's cool to see, I gotta say. Um so shout
Trade
out
a
to
win-win. Looking
shout out
back
to
at it,
both of these teams. Yeah, that trade is absolutely a win-win for both of them. People who are like, oh, I guess the Lions won the trade. It was like, um, the Rams won a Super Bowl?
the next season.
uh yeah, we'll see what happens, but no, I think this is like a very positive playoff game for the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else on this one?
No, you said it all.
Right, on to our Monday games. So we had Bills 31, Steelers 17. This game definitely a little more nervy than I think I expected, but Bills still covered. And you know, it was Mason Rudolph against Josh Allen. Mason Rudolph threw damn near 40 passes. Um, Ground game wasn't great with Pittsburgh, but they also kind of got away from it. Nobody had more than 12 rushing yards for Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Yeah,
TJ Watt was out. Just,
yeah.
I think the Steelers were kind of broken after Josh Allen's like massive run, and then they started mounting a comeback because they blocked a field goal, and it was like, and they got what, it was down to one possession at one point in the fourth quarter, I think.
Yeah, it got somewhat close.
Yeah.
We said it's probably gonna be the worst game of the weekend. It definitely wasn't the case.
No.
But
No.
with the weather being such a factor, like this game got moved. It wasn't even supposed to be on Monday. But with how much snow there was in Buffalo, obviously it couldn't be played. Wasn't gonna be safe to be played, so they moved it. Like you just talked about, those are the games where you expect the running backs to have such a huge part. The Steelers only got to the playoffs, in my opinion, or offensively, I'll say, was because of their two running backs, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, right? They didn't
Yeah.
get there because of Mason Rudolph. Yes, Mason Rudolph was a quarterback that ultimately finished the season. He was not the reason he got there. He should not have been throwing the ball 40 times that game. That just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. It and I had a funny moment with my dad because my dad was like, who's starting for them? And I was kind of explaining that, like, I was like, oh, it was Kenny Pickett, but then he got injured, and then Mason Rudolph came in, and Mason Rudolph looked good, and then Kenny Pickett came back, but Mason Rudolph still looked better, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, kind of that kind of situation. So interesting stuff for the Steelers going forward. Mike Tomlin stormed out of his press conference when he, I think somebody asked him about his future, and he just bounced. He'll be staying in Pittsburgh.
He
It
came
was
back. He
reported.
came back the next day. He said, "All right, I'm in a better mood now."
Yeah.
You know,
Which, honestly, like the fact that we make athletes, like, we stick a mic and camera in their face and we're like, talk about something extremely traumatic that just happened. Go. And I
yeah,
mean,
too.
I say extremely traumatic, but sometimes
Can
it's
be.
not. Sometimes you just get your ass kicked, but it can be. Um, it's just it's so funny to me. Like, can we not just, for playoffs, at least give these guys like a day and just send them a Zoom link or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Anything
don't think.
else? I'm sorry.
I don't think that model is gonna be. That's not gonna be the thing much longer. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see. Anything else on this game before we move on?
Uh, I don't think making the playoffs and losing in that fashion was really productive for Pittsburgh. I really
No, it'd
don't.
be like if the Saints made the playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean, you made the playoffs. Mike Tomlin had another winning season, but ultimately, I think this is a failed season overall.
Yeah, in a macro sense, I agree.
Okay, now what do you do at quarterback? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's
Playoffs.
it's a pain in the ass. Luckily, there's not too much money tied up in either one of them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but you have your first round quarterback in his second year. I think I don't know. Giving up, they're not going to give up on him, but
No. It would not surprise me if Kenny Pickett was the week 1 starter next year. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 32, Philadelphia 9.
it's another game I called
Yeah, no, you
correctly.
definitely did. I think this was probably the worst game of the slate. Philadelphia just gave up. It felt like. Yeah. What did you think?
They did. They did. And, it's uh, yeah, it was very reminiscent of the week 18 game where yes, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts were both getting hurt, but they pulled all their starters and they still had a slim chance of, getting that number 2 seed. Maybe they saw that, Dallas was up by so much that they just pulled everybody. But man, I don't recall a time where I've ever seen a team collapse like that. I really don't.
And from riding so high, you were 10-1. You were
10 and
10-1
1.
with a cake schedule.
Nick
You
Sirianni
know,
was talking shit to every fan base when he was in the
anyone with
tunnels.
ears, bro. Anyone with ears.
Yeah, it is
Ho,
such a
real
collapse.
quick. It has just come in. The Raiders are hiring Antonio Pierce.
Hmm. Okay. Good. Whoa.
We'll
Rare.
talk. We'll,
Yep, I
we'll
just saw it. Rare good move by the Raiders.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, down the stretch, I know Philly had some. They had a really brutal stretch where they literally played the 4 best teams in football, or 4 of the best teams in football, in the Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, all back to back to back to back to back to back to back. But losing, fucking just losing to the Cowboys, the Giants, the Cardinals, all down the stretch, all not good teams, all did not make the playoffs. Completely unacceptable. There's definitely, I mean, this shit, yo. This was like the Super Bowl favorite. And now
Yeah.
people are questioning if Sirianni is going to come back. I think he will. Should he? Probably not. But I think he will.
Yeah, it's we'll kind of jump into that a little bit as well, but it's such a collapse. And now when you kind of look back at it, like retrospect, this team has a lot of problems. Jason Kelsey retired. They have a lot of old question mark pieces on defense that was already pretty bad.
Their linebackers are bad.
AJ Brown might want out.
Their
Colts are
secondary
one of
is
the top.
bad.
Colts are one of the favorites to land AJ Brown if he does get traded.
That would be
Um,
awesome for Anthony Richardson.
DeAndre Swift is going to be a free agent. Just not looking good. Not looking good.
Yeah, and it's weird because like a strength of this Philadelphia team was the fact that they could run block so well. But
Yeah.
they ran the ball 15 times in this game.
Another team getting away from,
1-5.
from what got you there.
I don't quite know why. I mean, I know you were down early and yes, okay, but I don't know. Play your fucking strengths, guys.
Yeah. The way the season ended, I think it really just kind of showcased Nick Sirianni getting carried by his coordinators last year by
Yeah,
Shane Steichen and Jonathan
what a
Gannon.
win for fucking Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, you know.
Yeah, and
Um
it looks
yeah.
like he's gonna lose another offensive coordinator for a back-to-back year. Marcus Brady's gonna be gone. He's interviewing for the Bears open offensive coordinator position.
I think he
Um,
also didn't he also interview for the Falcons head coach?
he interviewed. Yeah, he has a head coaching interview. I forget if it was with the Falcons or if it was with Carolina. Regardless, they're going to be losing some more coordinators. He probably should anyway. I mean, look, Sirianni is the one who calls. He calls the plays. So it's kind of whatever.
I
But
didn't think he called plays
he gave up his. He initially he gave it
in the
up.
first season, right? Didn't he give it up?
I believe he gave it up this year. You
Oh,
you may be right. Yeah, I may be wrong.
I,
I may be
I
wrong
don't know.
here.
I don't pay
Um,
attention to the Eagles enough to confirm or deny.
regardless, yeah, such a collapse. Hey, super, super, super happy for Baker though. I'm gonna stand on what I said about Baker being a what did I say, top 10, top 15 quarterback, top 10 at least this season. He has been such a huge turnaround from like the shit show he was in last year. Love to see it.
A fun exercise to do. Look at the NFC quarterbacks left in the playoffs. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. If
Hmm.
you were to tell me that before the beginning of the season, I would have laughed at you.
Well, yeah. I
Anyway,
mean, yeah, it's pretty
it's
huge
fun.
turnaround from where we were at about 5 years ago. Drew
Yeah,
Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
yeah.
You know,
It it's cool. I like this year's NFL. It's fun. Anything else on these games before we move on to coaches?
let's move on to coaches.
All right. So when when we recorded our Black Monday podcast, we had already been like, oh well, let's wait a couple days after, the Monday itself, just so we can see how everything shakes out. And then so many fucking things shook out. We'll just go quick with this, but Belichick, quote, mutually agreed to part ways. Same thing with Pete Carroll. All within 24 hours. Was anyone else let go? I
Nick
don't think so.
Saban was like, I
Right,
mean,
right,
it's
right.
college, but
Saban retired. Yes.
um,
Um, but yeah,
did we get
I
Rabel? Was Rabel let go when we recorded?
I believe so because he
I
was an
think he
Arsenal fan.
was. Let's talk about the guys who didn't get fired, because we
Uh,
speculated about Belichick. I don't think anybody. I actually think I told you right after we posted to go cut out where I said there was no chance in hell that Pete Carroll got fired, but he's back with the team. He's still with Seattle. Um,
he's just
he's
not
in like
coming back as head
he's in
coach.
an advisory slash yeah he's a senior advisor and executive vice president.
Yeah.
Who knows what he's doing with that team? But didn't see those coming. people that probably should have got fired, I think that's where I'd like to talk about. We just
Yeah.
talked about one guy, Nick Sirianni, Mike McCarthy,
Dennis Allen.
Dennis. Well,
The
you
Dennis
got
dude, the
Carmichael. That's as
Dennis
much as
Allen
you're gonna
stuff
get.
is so bad. It's so bad right now.
Yeah.
Just it feels like we're gonna hire John Gruden, and then halfway through the season, when we're 1-4, we're gonna fire Dennis Allen, and then John Gruden is gonna be our head coach. And it's like, Jesus Christ, can we not just get a young offensive coordinator?
I think we both knew, though, right? He wasn't going anywhere.
No, yeah, I did. And the Saints GM had a press conference where he compared him to like Hall of Fame coaches, and he was like, Chuck Noll, it took him a while to have winning seasons. Da, 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 da. And it was like, you are not comparing fucking Chuck Noll to fucking Dennis Allen. Like, stop it, please. Yeah, I think so. I think all three are in positions that I'm not going to say unsalvageable, because there's talent on all three of these teams that could certainly rise above it all. But I think, in a year's time, these three men, besides maybe McCarthy, McCarthy will win like 10 games next year, and Jerry Jones will keep him. But yeah, no, I think these are teams that need to make a change. We sort of, I think there was supposed to be a lot more slots in terms of open coaching, and there's not really one. So like people like Eric Bieniemy, he's not going to be able to. I don't think he'll get a head coaching gig this season, because you have Vrabel out there, you have Harbaugh out there, you have Belichick out there, Ben Johnson soon. So it sucks, but unfortunately, this is the NFL, I guess.
Yeah. So we've only had 2 head coaching positions filled so far, right? Gerard Mayo immediately took over for Belichick,
Yep.
and now Antonio Pierce.
Yep.
So not a whole lot of movement, to be honest.
No, yeah, Belichick apparently having a second interview with Atlanta, and that's going to be interesting because there's already sort of football structure in place. There's already a GM there. There's already like Rich McKay is already there, who's football guy. Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that all shakes out if they do hire Belichick. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think I texted you. I think that's a horrible fit. I really do. Um, I mean, I see people saying how this is going to be great for Kyle Pitts, right? Because of Gronk and Aaron Hernandez and whatnot. But you have so many young, talented offensive skill players. Like, why are we going, why are we not going with an old offensive coordinator, an old-minded or young-minded guy, and a young offensive coordinator is what I'm trying to say. I just
M-
don't love the fit.
My it Should I say who my nightmare situation would be for Atlanta, or should I just not jinx it?
Say it. Say it, but say it not as nightmare as a positive thing, so it doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. Harbaugh, I hope you get paid millions by a team from the South.
He
Um,
interviewed, right?
he did.
He
He did.
did.
And that fucking terrifies me. His NFL win percentage, I think, is like 70% or in the high 60s, and I'm like, no, 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 please no, please
Yeah,
no.
never understood why he's not. Why he's been kept out of the NFL for so long.
I hope he goes
That
to
would
the
be
Chargers.
great.
Send his ass to the Chargers, please, 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 please,
But
please. Just go
I
to the
see so many
Chargers.
jokes that he's gonna go to Atlanta and he's gonna draft JJ McCarthy, which would be, you know, not great.
Worst
Um,
Desmond Ritter, yay.
yeah, it's interesting. I think that'd be a good fit. I've been very unimpressed with Carolina's
Mm,
head coaching search.
mm. Well, nobody
To
wants to go
no
there.
surprise. Yeah.
It's a terrible coach, or it's a terrible coaching position to be in. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna I think they hire a one and done, and finally get their guy on the next go around. I think the Arizona
I hate that
Cardinals this
though.
thing.
I absolutely hate that.
Yes, I do too.
But hey, that's how you fuck up your quarterback, your first overall quarterback, is you have given three different head coaches in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anything else on coaches hired or fired before we move on to the next our little prediction slate?
I want to touch on it real quick. I don't love the Gerard Mayo hire. Very similar to a lot of stuff we've talked about previously with the Saints, keeping the same people in house. We'll
Mm.
see how much turnover that staff has. I know Bill O'Brien's with Ohio State now, so that's good, right? You're not gonna have McDaniels or Bill O'Brien, but hopefully he kind of resets that team.
Yeah, we'll see. I think. Well, I don't know what to think, but I like Gerard Mayo.
Did
He
you
has
see the
great
intro
press
press conference?
conferences.
Yeah, I
The
was just about
whole
to ask.
tangent about Steve Belichick was hilarious. Yeah, no, I'm legitimately excited to see what they can do. Third overall pick, whether they try and trade up or or maybe just stay pat and draft whoever. Yeah, it's very exciting. Highest Patriots draft pick, and whoever knows how long. Yeah, I'm excited. Fun season coming up. Anything else before we move on?
Let's move on.
All right. So we'll just do what we did last week, just in terms of predictions. So first game, Texans Ravens. That is in Baltimore. Gonna be a nice chilly game. Baltimore 13-4, Texans 10-7. Baltimore just sort of it felt like throughout most of the season were awesome. And the stats really back that up. They are like one of the best DVOA teams of the history of the NFL. Um, I personally think that this is where the magic ends. We have the TJ Yates run all over again, where he went to Baltimore and just I don't know if
Ooh,
they'll get killed, but I'm definitely taking
that's
Baltimore.
disrespectful as hell.
That is disrespectful as hell. I'm sorry, CJ Stroud. That was so mean.
I'm gonna
Um.
push back. I'm gonna push back.
Oh yeah.
I got Houston.
Wow. Okay.
Look,
Well,
Baltimore's 9.5 point favorites. Here's
we're
here's
not
what I
going
see
against the
happening.
spread, right? We're just picking straight up,
No,
right?
no, just straight up.
Okay. Cool.
Baltimore sat their starters week 18. They had a first round bye. You could say they're well rested, but man, Houston in those 2 weeks has gotten extremely hot. Right, against essentially two playoff games. Like I said, that week 18 game against Indy to get in, it was a playoff game. They
Yeah.
dropped 45 against Cleveland, who played Baltimore pretty well earlier that season. And they dropped 23 the week before against Indy. So that's 68 points last 2 weeks where Baltimore starters have not played. So I think Houston's coming to this game with a lot of hype, a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. I mean, those first round buys, they're great. My dad, as a Niners fan, he's worried about the Niners too. He never likes having those buys because it's just sitting sometimes. You can get healthy,
Yeah.
but you can kind of lose your rhythm too. And for
Yeah.
sitting for
Because you're
two
not like
weeks,
battle hardened.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sitting for 2 weeks, it's just not, doesn't always work out the best. Houston's looked very impressive. I see them pulling this one out, doing it for the AFC South.
Hell yeah. I fuck with it. I don't think I can make the pick. I'm too much at awe of or in awe of this Ravens team. But you might be right. There's 2 straight weeks of the Ravens sitting. Should be very interesting to find out what happens in this game. Next game, Packers 49ers. This was not a matchup a ton of people were expecting because I think a lot of people were just like, yeah, Cowboys. That was me. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about this game. I think that, the Packers, similar to the Texans, have like really shown their mettle, just in terms of being a young team with a young quarterback, getting behind the quarterback, and just really rising above. Unfortunately, I think they're pathing towards a buzzsaw in the 49ers. 49ers are awesome against basically everything, and the 49ers, their wins are insane. They basically won every game. Every win they have is pretty much by double digits. Um, Besides their week 2 win against the Rams,
Yeah.
which is fucking crazy. Which is fucking crazy that every win you have is double digits besides one, and you win 12 games. What the fuck? Like, that is a sign of dominance. Brock Purdy playing really well, to the point where people had him as an MVP favorite, if not favorite, very close to the top. Yeah, who do you think is going to win this game?
Everything you just said, San Fran's gonna win.
Yeah,
I like what I see with Green Bay. Impressive for them to go this far, but it's San Fran all the way.
yeah. If this game was in Green Bay, I think I'd feel differently, but it's not. Sorry, the Packers.
And San Fran has a very strong recent history of bouncing the Packers in the playoffs as well, so I think it continues.
Yeah. LaFleur has never beaten Shanahan, right?
Hmm. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking this the other day. I know we told you already are past this. Um, we're past the coaches, right? The coaches talk, but I was gonna talk about this. So Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator from Houston, he's getting a lot of looks. He has a lot of interviews. He is another coordinator that was on that Mike Shanahan offense in Washington.
I'm done. I'm done shitting on the Shanahan tree being like, they're all so young. No, it's working out. It's fucking working out. It is more likely than not, if you hire one of these guys, they will turn around your fucking franchise,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
impressive.
insane. It's
Just wanted to point that
insane.
out.
No,
Um,
I appreciate you pointing that out.
but yeah, so hey, Green Bay, impressive what you did. It's over from is over from there though.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, Moving on, next game, Buccaneers at Lions. Fun game, but I think we're gonna disagree on this game because of how you feel about Baker, but I don't know. To me, this has a Lions win written all over it.
Hmm.
I think the Buccaneers last week faced a dead team. They were just zombies walking around. And you know, the week before that, they scored 9 points against the lowly Panthers. The week before that, they got their ass kicked against the Saints. So if you remove them stabbing a corpse over and over and over and over again last week, I don't know how confident I am in the Bucks. What's your take?
You read me like a book, man. I'm riding the Baker high right now.
Hell yeah. No, write it out, man.
He's 337, 3 touchdowns, looked very impressive. Mike Evans didn't even do shit
No,
in
he
that
had
game.
a couple drops that game.
Yeah, so I'm keeping it going, dude. I like what I'm seeing with this Bucks team, with Baker more specifically. I see this being very similar that they're gonna have to grind out a win, but I'm picking the Bucks.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I just there's something special with this Detroit run right now, and I'm just very excited to see where it goes. I was worried about the Rams, like, kind of getting to Jared Goff and fucking him up, but that didn't really happen. And I think that the Bucks don't have as good a pass rush as the Rams. So the key for Jared Goff is always keep him clean, and he'll play great to good. And I think that'll happen again. Yeah. Last game,
Sweet. we've picked against each other quite a bit so far. Then,
Yeah, you took the Texans. You took. Well, I mean, it's just
Texans, Niners, Bucks. So
yeah,
yeah.
Last game, Chiefs at Bills. Another messy game. Mahomes against Allen. The 13-second game. All that. Very.
The matchup that changed the playoff overtime rules.
Yeah. No, you're right. Because now we can go into shootouts. Shout out to that. Weather predicted at Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, is 18 degrees, partly cloudy, wind 7 miles per hour. So for the Chiefs, it's like they're in Miami. Lions 2.5. I'm gonna stick to what I know, and I'm sorry that if there are any friends listening to this, but I will be taking Kansas City in this game.
All right, here's another one we're against each other. I'm taking Buffalo.
Hell yeah! All right, what's your thinking?
I still just don't see it with Kansas City. Yes, they won last week, but it was a cold game. Played against Miami. Miami's not typically playing these cold games often. Buffalo does, right? They just came off a game last week. They had to be moved because it was so cold and so snowy. So,
shout out Kathy Hochul for that.
I think Buffalo's already beat Kansas City this year.
If it were not for Kadarius Toney lining up offside, I just want to say that.
I do not. Come on. I think Mahomes was kind of a little bitch after the end of that game. So much so that him and Andy Reid both got fined for complaining.
Yep.
I could see that as like some fuel for the Bills. That's the team that they just have not been able to get past in the playoffs. I think this is the year.
Have you looked at the Bills injury report for this week?
I have. I did
It
see
is
quite a bit of starters. Quite a bit
brutal,
of
dude. It is so brutal. They have so many fucking people on this thing, and their safety, Taylor Rapp, out. Gabe Davis, out. Cornerback, Benford, who was making a lot of plays, he's out. I worry that this is going to turn into another game where the defense lets Josh Allen down. Yeah, that's my take. I think that the Bills are maybe a little too injured right now on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe people aren't taking that into the equation because, they're like, oh, Josh Allen. Which, hey, I get it. Josh Allen is fucking great. I was watching the game with my dad last week, and he's a Bills fan, and it's so fun to root for him. But I think with the Bills injuries and the Chiefs kind of coming on at the right time, I'm 100% taking the Chiefs on this one.
Fair enough. So we only picked one game.
Yeah, we only picked one game the same, which was the Texans Ravens, right? Or no, San Fran. Sorry. So yeah, it'll be fun to track that throughout the week. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think I'm hoping for some closer games, some better games this week. I don't think we're gonna have many blowouts except for that San Fran game.
Yeah.
That has potential to get ugly. But
yeah,
should have better.
We'll see.
Yeah, should have a really good divisional round.
Hell yeah. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoy your it's not wild card weekend. Divisional round playoffs. Oh man, just real quick. Our basketball teams, man, what the fuck? Just God, not fun. Not a fun season.
We're gonna have an NBA podcast soon.
Yeah, we'll
having fun. I'm having fun watching the season despite the horrible
I'm having fun watching the season, just not the Nets.
Fair enough. I saw the report that Spencer Dinwiddie might be somewhat staging what is it? He's not trying.
Oh, I didn't.
For whatever reason.
But what a surprise.
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, he's. I can't think of the word. I'm an idiot. We'll get into it though. We're gonna do a podcast on it.
We'll do an NBA. Yeah, probably if not next week, then the week after. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, AJ, for joining. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. liking, sharing, following, blah, 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 blah. All the things. Make sure you're checking out previous episodes. Yeah, hope everyone who is on the East Coast or anywhere that's not fucking Florida or Los Angeles, hope everyone's staying warm, because it's cold as shit everywhere else, even Texas. Yeah. Even, I was like, so I just have like New Orleans on my weather app, and even New Orleans, getting down to 31 degrees tomorrow. Chilly.
In Mexico. I mean, it's sitting at 50 right now, but starting the day off is pretty brutal.
Pretty nippy.
A little bit. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you, AJ. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you later, man. Peace.
Hey.